So today's video is basically going to be about people who really want to get started into the fantasy world and which books are the actual best books to get started into the fantasy world. If you haven't read fantasy, it's mostly a romance fantasy type of thing that I read, so this will probably be like fantasy-esque romance type of books that you can get started with if you are new to reading fantasy and really want to start getting to read it. So yeah, these are going to be the books that I really hope I enjoyed when I started reading. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and just let's get on with it. So the very first books that I fell in love with personally, and this series will always have a special place in my heart, because that's when I started reading fantasy, actually started reading again, period. So these are some of the books that I really enjoyed, and the series I really enjoyed, and I think you do need to read it once in your life because it changes your perspective, and it also changes the way you see the world in a way. For me especially, that's how much impact this has had on me. And some people like it, some people don't like it. That's really up to you. That is a personal preference, and I think I personally really enjoyed these, and these have a really special place in my heart. And I keep saying this, I keep tooting about Sarah J Maas. So yes, it is going to be Court of Thorns and Roses. There is quite a few Sarah J Maas books in this that I'm going to show you. So it is ACOTAR, The Court of Thorns and Roses. This is one of my favourite series I've ever read, and it also got me into reading. So yes, it's a really good series that you can start reading fantasy with. I think it's very easy to follow. It is a very easy book to understand. It's not too complicated. There's not as much world building. There is a lot of explanation of how the courts obviously go about and how the world goes about as well. There is a map inside of this book, and you can see it very clearly on there how it's split up and everything. I found it very easy to follow, and it was just my favourite because the romance in it was next level, and the plot twists, especially the plot twists, was something to look out for. This book is basically about Feyre. She is a huntress. The skin of a wolf would bring enough gold to feed her sisters for a month, but the life of a magical creature comes at a steep price, and Feyre has just killed the wrong wolf. Taken prisoner by a high Fey lord, Feyre learns that her masked captor is hiding even more than his piercing gaze suggests. But as Feyre's feelings for Tamlin begin to burn throughout every warning she's heard about his kind, a shadow is falling across the land, and if Feyre cannot fight it, she will lose everything. Plot twists in this was something that I found very intriguing, and also the way Sarah J Maas writes her plots, and everything just comes together. Especially in her other series as well, which are also going to be mentioned in this. So this is a really good fantasy starter. So yeah, I really do suggest these books. These books are, they mean the world to me, and this will always have a special place in my heart because I started off reading with this, and now I have more books than there should be on my shelves, and there's also loads on the floor. So yeah, go and check this out. And if you haven't read it, please go and read it. It is really worth it. And I loved every single second of this, and I wish I took my time reading it because it was so good. Well, we're already on about Sarah J Maas, so I might as well go on to her next series, which this is a heavy series, I'd say, of hers. it has quite a lot of books in it, so if you like to read a lot of books in one series, I tend to get very, very bored easily when I read too many books in the same world. So in my eyes, it was very difficult for me to actually... this series, I really struggled to especially read it because there were so many in it. So it is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. There is 8 in total in this, and honestly, the storyline, there is different ways people have read these books, and I personally think every single way is correct. There are some outrageous ways people have said to read these, but this is... any way you read it is fine, honestly. Like, I don't think it matters to the storyline. I think the Assassin Blade should be read first in this series, but it doesn't make a difference, really. I actually read Thorn of Glass, then this one, and I went back to it. Or you can read it after the Heir of Fire. If I'm being entirely honest, if you read it after the Heir of Fire, it will make a lot more sense. But anyway, it's fine. And I also did the tandem read, which I read both books at the same time. I have to say, this is a good starter. Yeah, the Thorn of Glass is a really good way to get started into fantasy, kind of romance-esque genre. So this book is basically about entering the realm, unleash the darkness, live the legend. In a land without magic, an assassin is summoned to the castle. Selena Sardothien has no love for the vicious king who rules from his throne of glass, but she has not come to kill him, she has come to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 murderers, thieves and warriors in a deadly competition, she will be released from the prison to serve as the king's champion. But something rotten dwells in the castle and it's there to kill. When her competitors start dying mysteriously, one by one, Selena fights for freedom, becomes a fight for survival, launching her on a desperate quest to root out the evil before it destroys her world and the people who she has come to love. Thrilling and fearsome, Throne of Glass is the first book in the #1 New York Times best series, and that has captivated readers worldwide. A must read for lovers of epic fantasy. So it is more of the epic fantasy type of esque thing, which honestly, go and read it if you haven't. I found this... some books were a 5-star, some books were a 4-star, some books were a 3-star. I personally think I read this at the wrong time in my life because I was in such a book slump and I needed something to take me out of it, and I read this. And I think when I am in a book slump, I just don't want to read anything, and it took me so long. I think it took me about 2 months to read all of this, and I really struggled. So maybe I read it at the wrong time in my life, but I think everyone should go and read this once in their life. It teaches you about so many things, and it also has a really special place in my heart. Sarah J Maas is such a good writer, and I can't fault her because I love the way she writes and I love the way she expresses herself throughout some of the characters. And I just adore all the characters that she writes. Not all of them, but some of them. The villains, not so much. But anyways, yeah, I think you should go and check it out if you do want to go into fantasy world reading type of stuff. So the next one I have is a Stephanie Garber, Once Upon a Broken Heart. So this is more YA fantasy. Hope this is a really good way to get into fantasy anyway, so it's very easy to follow on. And I kind of like the fairy tale type of thing in this book. I've really enjoyed fairy tale reading in this, and I've never read anything like this, so I really enjoyed it. And there is 3 altogether in this series, so it's not a lot to read at first. So this book is basically about, for as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in happily ever after until she learns that the love of her life is about to marry another and her dreams are shattered. Desperate to stop the wedding and heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. And I didn't know where this was going to take me, so I really enjoyed this one. And it's not so much as a, I don't know how to explain it. It's like romance, not romance type of thing. I really enjoyed this book, and I really think you should check it out if you are wanting to get into fantasy reading. So, Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi. I have 2 of the Tahira Mafi books here, but this is a separate series from the one I'm going to say in a couple of minutes. So, this Woven Kingdom, oh my, I loved this so much. I gave it a 5-star actually, I think. Not the first one, the second one and the third one, and the fourth one was really good. This one is just it's a bit of a backstory, but I really enjoyed it. It's more of a, I'm going to take you through. She takes us through so much character development. It's unbelievable in these. If you do want to start fantasy and a world that, this is also YA, so if you do want to start something very light, this is a really good one. So basically all this book is about is, to all the world, Elizabeth is a disposable servant, never to be known for who she really is, the long-lost heir to an ancient Jin kingdom. She's hunted always, forced to hide in the plain sight, lest she expose herself to danger, until one day she makes a mistake. The Crown Prince Kamran has heard the prophecies. He knows of the fearsome monster promised to kill his king. Darkness is fast descending upon his empire, driving Kamran to desperate seek out its source. But as he grows even more suspicious of the servant girl with the strange eyes, the more he learns about her and the harder it is to turn away, even if falling for someone like her means fortifying everything he's ever known. The Woven Kingdom is a story of clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long-forgotten queen who must claw her way through the darkness to reclaim her throne, rebuild her kingdom, and save people from the half-lives they've been forced to live. This, oh my, this was so good. So if you do want to start fantasy, this is another one that you should go and check out. And the other one from Tahira Mafi is Shatter Me. So the Shatter Me series, there is quite a lot in this series, but I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the first one so much. I was really confused with the first one, if I'm being honest. I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on. So yeah. It's basically about fragile teenage girl is held captive, locked in a cell by the establishment, a harsh dictatorship in charge of a crumbling world. But Julia is no ordinary teenager. One touch from her can kill. The establishment wants to use her as a weapon, but Juliet has other plans. After a lifetime without freedom, she's finally discovered the strength to fight back and to find a future with the one person she thought she'd lost forever. So, this is a dystopian world book, and it is also YA, but you should go and check it out. It is quite fantasy and everything, and it was a really good series. You just have to get through the first book, but the first book is quite interesting as well. At the same time, I was just like, what is going on? I have no idea what's going on. Like, you jump into like a really weird, the first couple of chapters you're like, oh my god, what is going on? But this is definitely one to check out, so you should go and see it. This is a good one. One is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. So this is also, is it YA? I don't think it is YA. I'm not too sure actually. But this is also another one to start your fantasy book journey. If you like, it is more on the darker side, so it's more like gothic type of thing, which is fair enough. Like, I really enjoyed reading this. This was a really good palette cleanser for me. I don't read much dark type of gloomy fantasy. So I was really intrigued by this. So basically, it's about Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mist-locked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her, he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, she is thrust into a world of shadow and deception. Together they embark on a dangerous quest to cure the town of Blunder from the dark magic infecting it. As the stakes heighten and their undeniable attraction intensifies, Elspeth is forced to face her dark secret yet. The nightmare is slowly darkly taking over her mind, and she might not be able to stop him. A maiden must unleash the monster within to save her kingdom in the dark. Lush Gothic fantasy debut. So, yes, Gothic fantasy. You should also read this if you do want to get into fantasy. I personally really enjoyed this, and it was such a really easy read. It's only a duology, so it's not that long as well, so I think you should go for it if you do want to get into fantasy. Another YA, it is called Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This book is kind of Hunger Game vibes type of thing. I really enjoyed this. There is 4 books in total in this whole series. There is also a prequel in this. So yeah, this is another book that is really good to get into fantasy. So, only the extraordinary belong in the kingdom of Isla. The elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted them by the plague, whilst those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Isla and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Peyton Grey. An ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. When she unsuspectingly saves one of Ilia's princes, Kai Isa, she's thrown into the purging trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's power. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feels for will, if he discovers what Peyton is, completely ordinary, be swept away by the first in the epic and sizzling fantasy romance trilogy taking the world by storm. This was such a good read, and it's so sad that it's come to an end, but I really enjoyed unravelling the whole thing. It's got everything in it. So it's got trials, it's got romance, it's got kind of like assassin vibes in the second book, really. And then you've got the sand dunes, which you see a change of scenery. Then yeah, it's just really good, and you should check it out if you want to get into fantasy. So all the books, I believe, you should read if you want to get into fantasy. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I shall see you next week. So happy reading, and I will see you when I'll see you, and I really hope you enjoyed your week. And yeah, love you. Bye.